Good morning. Welcome to Central Florida. Saw a few crows in the yard this week. Not sure if they're staying for a while or not. We did get down to 32 degrees this morning, so it is a bit chilly here, but it's supposed to warm up again later in the week. Anyway, the crows reminded me of the Edgar Allan Poe poem, The Raven. So I thought I would put it here today. Thank you for watching. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, when I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if some gentle, lengthy rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Distinctly I remembered it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember brought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here, nevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance to my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance to my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, nevermore." Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there, wandering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a rat tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what treat it is, and the mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and the mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Now the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lord or lady perched upon my chamber door, perched upon the bust of Pallas just above the chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then the ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, but the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though my chest, though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient Roman, wandering before the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on this night's Plantonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I ravelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though it answered little meaning, little relevancy bore. But we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with the word name as nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the darkness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it matters is only stock and store caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore, of never, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what the grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. Then I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining with my head at ease reclining on the cushions velvet lining that the lamp light gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamp light glimmering she shall pass, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed with the unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tough floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, but the angels has sent thee respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind of Nephtune, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Poet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, what temper sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted on this desert land enchanted, on this house by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, by that God we have both adore, till this soul with sorrow laden within the distant Aidenn, it shall clasp a sainted maiden whose angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden who the angels name Lamore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be the word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I start up, get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonium shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy break from my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him throws his shadows on the floor. And my soul from that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Thank you for stopping by. I hope to see you next week.